Well, I'm out on the Revolt today. And I'm on a different route to the one I'd originally planned. They forecast some decent weather for this week, but they lied. All they meant was we'll have a few days where it isn't just torrential rain. It's nice to be out in the dry, but we do have a severe gale. So I was going to go up the Vale today, but it's all uphill there, and I felt like it might be difficult because I'm not the world's best hill climber, and I thought that trying to go uphill with a 20-mile-an-hour headwind might be a bit difficult. So when I said severe gale, I wasn't exaggerating. Wind speed today is 15 to 20 miles an hour, gusting 25. And the traffic is like you've never seen before. I think they've passed a law. Everybody who owns a car has to go out in it. Where I normally go, I try and stay off major roads wherever I can. And I was going down this road, which is not more than a country lane really, and I had about 15 cars overtake me. And at the point where I wanted to turn right, I just had to abandon it and go straight on, because there wasn't a gap. It was just a constant stream of cars coming towards me, and about 10 cars queuing up behind me. So I was watching the GCN this week, and they were talking about cycling technology and the world champs, and is technology a good thing? And my opinion is it isn't. At least it isn't when it gets too expensive. And they generally came to the conclusion that they like the technology improvements. I'm very much opposed to it. And the reason is, I've seen it kill Formula One and MotoGP going back 15 years or so. And Lewis Hamilton was in a McLaren, and he had some problem or other, I can't remember what it was, and they said to him on the radio, use yellow button mode 3. And I don't know whether he won the race or not, but he must have been on the podium. Because in the post-race interviews, they said to him, what does yellow button mode 3 do? And he said, I don't know. Oh well, you're not driving the car then. You know, they have traction control systems that take into account the track surface, the bumps, so they can just throw it into a corner, slam the throttle wide open, and the electronics will sort it out. And that's not real skill. And the teams with the money win races, and the teams without money don't. And Valentino Rossi said, "There's nothing I can do to show that I've got superior skill." And that's what I worry about. It becomes checkbook racing. Teams with the money will win, and the others won't. And as an athlete, do you feel satisfaction knowing that there were stronger riders, but they didn't have access to the same technology as you? I don't know. Or has it gone the way of all other professional sports? Doesn't matter how you win, as long as you win. Because that'll bring the sponsors in. In the Tour de France, the riders are being told how to ride the race. Because they're all connected to the coach. And Colin Sturgis holds the world time trial record for, I don't know, 30 years or so. And I read his account of it. And he said, when I saw my dad jumping up and down on the bridge, I knew I was on for a good time. And that image was really familiar to me. Having ridden in a team with Colin Sturgis, a team run by his parents, that was the only coaching we got in a race, was Alan Sturgis standing on the side of the road waving his arms. Of course, Colin Sturgis had parents that were totally dedicated to the sport. So he went on to be a world champion, whereas I didn't. Never mind. He probably doesn't even remember me now. But the technology at the World Championships, when they're talking about scientifically wind tunnel designed skin suits and all kinds of things, and I don't know. I think it should be about the rider's ability. I've said before, when I lined up, we all had frames made of Reynolds 531 tubing. A 10-speed cam bag or Dura Ace setup. And every bike was pretty much the same. So when I lined up, the only thing that was going to change the result, hello, was the ability of the riders lined up next to me. And that's the way it should be in an athletic sport. But that said, how far do you go? Because there are those older than me who would have said, well, yeah, but 531 tubing was technology. Tubular tyres where technology, and that is true. I think really the difference is anybody could afford it. When I say anybody, I mean, anybody in competitive cycling. So an amateur who felt he had the ability to enter a professional race. To see if they could impress the spotters and get themselves a contract. I'm riding a carbon frame Revolt, and it is better than my aluminium frame Trek. There's no question. So where do you draw the line on what technology you're prepared to accept and what you're not? It really is a difficult one. Perhaps what we need to do is the same as many forms of motor racing. Perhaps what we need is a situation where we say that you can only use things that are available off the shelf and available to all competitors. I mean, my carbon frame Revolt cost £2,000. That's not really a barrier to entry for many people. And this is the issue. The guys at GCN are younger than me. Probably find that when they started racing, carbon frames were the norm. And that's the point I'm trying to make. You know, maybe somebody who raced in the 50s would have looked at my bike and said, oh, don't like all this new technology, I think it's ruining the sport. I'm not a big fan of electronic shifting. I'm not going to say that it shouldn't be allowed or anything like that, don't get me wrong. But for me personally, it takes away some of the purity of cycling, because that's what cycling is. It's man and machine. Everything you do is powered by the porridge you had for breakfast. So I'm opposed to electronic shifting, and yet I'm riding with a Garmin computer, a heart rate monitor, a cadence sensor, so I don't know where you draw the line really. And I know this technology sort of trickles down, but even then there's a problem. And it steadily increases the price of entry-level bikes. One of my colleagues asked me about bikes. Thought he'd like to start cycling. And he asked me what bike I would recommend. I said, well, it depends what you want to spend. He said, about £500. And I thought, well, there's nothing. Certainly nothing new. But he thought £500 was quite a reasonable budget, because it's not that long ago you could get a half decent car for that. So let me know in the comments what you think of cycling technology, and of course like and subscribe.